What if the symptoms you're dealing with right now didn't start at menopause, but years earlier? What if brain fog, constant fatigue, and hair loss aren't signs of aging, but early signals of hormonal change that can begin as early as 35? For many women, that idea feels shocking, because when you're 35, 38, or even 42, you're usually told the opposite. You're told you're too young. You're told that if you're still having regular periods, your hormones must be fine. You're told to wait, to push through, to try harder. But here's what so many women quietly experience. You wake up tired, even after sleeping. You struggle to focus the way you used to. Words don't come as easily. Your hair feels thinner. Your energy feels unpredictable. And when you ask about it, you're told everything looks normal. If that sounds familiar, this video is for you. If you're looking for calm, clear guidance about hormones without fear or dismissal, subscribe to Hormonal Balance Institute. You deserve answers that actually make sense. Because menopause isn't a moment, it's a transition. And for many women, that transition begins long before periods stop. In the next few minutes, you'll learn why symptoms like brain fog, fatigue, and hair loss often start earlier than you were told, why they're so often dismissed, and what actually helps when effort alone isn't enough. And most importantly, you'll understand why you're not imagining this, and why your body isn't failing you. For years, women have been taught to associate menopause with a single moment in time, a date on the calendar, a year without a period. But the reality is very different. Hormonal change doesn't flip on like a switch. It unfolds gradually, quietly, unevenly. For many women, estrogen, progesterone, and testosterone begin to decline in the mid-30s or early 40s. Sometimes levels drop. Sometimes they fluctuate wildly. And during this phase, the body is often under more stress than ever. Careers, parenting, relationships, responsibilities, all while internal regulation is becoming less stable. That's why the earliest symptoms are often cognitive and energetic. Brain fog isn't just forgetfulness, it's difficulty concentrating, trouble multitasking, feeling mentally slower than you used to be. Fatigue isn't just being tired, it's waking up exhausted, needing more caffeine to function, feeling like your energy disappears halfway through the day. And hair loss isn't just cosmetic, it's emotional, it's personal. It's watching something that once felt like part of your identity quietly change. These symptoms often show up years before menopause is ever mentioned. And because of that, they're often dismissed. You're told it's stress. You're told it's aging. You're told it's burnout. You're told to sleep more, eat better, exercise harder. So you try. You clean up your diet. You cut sugar. You increase protein. You track calories. You work out more consistently. You take supplements, iron, B vitamins, magnesium, adaptogens. You try to manage stress, meditate, journal, breathe. And sometimes things improve a little, but often they don't improve enough. And that's when frustration turns into self-doubt. Because when you're doing everything right and still don't feel like yourself, it starts to feel personal. Like your body is betraying you. Like you're losing control over something that used to feel natural. But here's the truth that changes the entire conversation. These symptoms are not a lack of discipline. They are not a failure of effort. They are not because you're doing life wrong. They are signals. Hormones are messengers. They tell your brain, your metabolism, your immune system, your skin, and your hair how to function. When those messages weaken or become inconsistent, the effects show up everywhere, especially in energy, cognition, mood, and hair growth. Lifestyle supports health, but lifestyle cannot replace hormonal signals. You cannot will your way out of low estrogen. You cannot supplement your way out of low progesterone. You cannot exercise your way out of a system that's no longer receiving clear hormonal instructions. That's why many women eventually begin looking into hormone therapy, often much earlier than they expected. And that step makes sense. But for many women, the relief they expect doesn't fully arrive. Brain fog lingers, fatigue persists, hair loss doesn't completely resolve, and once again, they're left wondering what they're missing. The missing piece is often not the hormone itself, but how it's delivered. Most traditional hormone approaches were designed decades ago. Their primary goal was to help women get through the final stages of menopause with fewer severe symptoms. They were never designed with early perimenopause in mind, and they were never designed to match how hormones naturally move through the female body. When hormones are taken orally, much of the dose is processed by the liver before it ever reaches the tissues that need it. This can reduce effectiveness and contribute to side effects that many women recognize: grogginess, bloating, mood changes, or feeling flat. Topical creams can be inconsistent. Absorption varies from person to person, and a large portion may never enter circulation at all. This often leads women into a cycle of adjusting doses, adding products, layering solutions, and still not feeling fully supported. At this point, many women feel stuck in an uncomfortable in-between, too young to be taken seriously, but too symptomatic to ignore what's happening. And this is where the conversation needs to change. I'll show you a better and far more effective option. One product. It works, it's simple, and it will completely change how you feel. The female body absorbs hormones most efficiently through highly vascular tissue that allows direct access to the bloodstream. When hormones are delivered this way, they bypass much of the digestive and liver processing that reduces effectiveness. This matters especially in early perimenopause, when hormone levels fluctuate and the body becomes more sensitive to how support is delivered. When hormones reach the bloodstream more directly, they're able to support the systems most affected early on: the brain, energy regulation, sleep, mood, and hair growth cycles. That's why many women notice that brain fog begins to lift. Fatigue becomes more manageable. Hair changes stabilize, not because something extreme is being done, but because the body is finally receiving signals in a way it can recognize and respond to. Another reason this approach resonates with so many women is its simplicity. Instead of juggling multiple products, instead of guessing absorption, instead of constantly adjusting routines, this method supports the body with far less friction. It takes seconds a day. And because delivery is efficient, the focus shifts from more to better. This isn't about chasing youth. It isn't about fighting your body. It's about understanding what your body is asking for, earlier than you were told to listen. Perimenopause is not something that suddenly arrives in your 50s. For many women, it's a gradual transition that begins quietly in the mid-30s. And brain fog, fatigue, and hair loss are often the earliest clues. When those clues are ignored, symptoms tend to compound. When they're understood, women can respond with clarity instead of confusion. Hormone symptoms are not a personal failure. They're information. They're feedback from a system that's changing. And when women are given accurate information, without fear, without dismissal, without extremes, something important happens. Self-blame softens, confidence returns, and choices become clearer. At Hormonal Balance Institute, the focus is on helping women understand these early changes so they don't spend years doubting themselves or pushing harder when their bodies are asking for a different kind of support. You're not broken. Your body is communicating. And the earlier you understand that conversation, the more empowered you become in navigating the years ahead. Feeling good as you age isn't unrealistic. It isn't selfish, and it isn't reserved for a lucky few. If this helped you feel understood, stay here with Hormonal Balance Institute. You're not broken, Your body is asking for a better conversation. When biology is supported instead of fought, the body remembers what it's capable of. And that's where real change begins.